Hey y'all. Welcome. I'm super excited to have you guys on here. It's gonna be a great time together. All right, so welcome to Plan Your Wedding Live. Plan Your Wedding Live. I wanna hear your questions. I wanna hear how the wedding planning process has been going. Yes, absolutely. I wanna hear how your planning process has been going. I want to hear, any questions. Literally, you can ask me anything, but the topic I'm really going to be delving into today is why your 50K wedding budget isn't working. Like, that's literally what we're going to be talking about today, okay? So if you're like, oh man, I've been struggling, like trying to keep my wedding under budget, even if your budget's like 40K, 30K, 20K, or if it's 100K, 90K, why is my budget not working? Why am I stuck? That's what we're going to be talking about today, okay? So yeah, let me finish getting everything set up. All right, y'all. So it looks like my titles are not loading, but in case you were wondering, today we are talking about today's Wedding Wednesday. Hello, Freddie. How are you? Welcome. Welcome, Dave. Welcome. You guys do me a favor and just hit like as you're joining. Hit like. Two things I want you to do is hit the like button. Let people know that we're having fun in here, but also do me a favor. Hello, Sharon. Also do me a favor and let me know your first name. Let me know what city you're in, and also let me know when your wedding date is. If you haven't picked a venue or haven't picked a date, just say, I want to get married in fall 2027 or spring 2027 or spring 2028. Just let me know so I know who I'm chatting with, and I want to be able to address you directly. I really would like this to be interactive. Hello, Maverick. How are you? Welcome. It's Wedding Wednesday. All right, so I can't wait to chat a little bit more about weddings. All right, hello, Miss Cool Sagittarius. Okay, thanks for joining. Excited to have you here. Hi guys. You guys. All right, so we're excited to have you guys in here. Okay, and Guillermina is also on. Freddie, great. Cool Sagittarius, welcome. All right, once again, it's Wedding Wednesday, and we are talking about why your 50K wedding budget isn't working. Why is your 50K wedding budget not working? 50K is a lot of money for anybody, right? $50,000 is a lot of money. Hello, Brandy. It's a lot of money for anyone to spend really on anything, especially on a wedding day. Some people will say like, oh my gosh, it's just one day. Why am I spending so much money on one day? It's worth it. But if you're in that situation, let's say your budget's 50K, 40K, it could be 30K, it could be 60, 70, 80, 90, 100K. You might be like, I still feel stretched thin. Why is this not working, right? Maybe you live in a city where the average cost of a wedding in your city, you already did the research, right? And you saw the average cost of a wedding there is like 35K. So you decided to plan a wedding for 50K and it's still not working. Today, I want to help you understand why it's not working and most importantly, what you can do to get back on track through your wedding planning journey, okay? My name's Faisal. I've been in the wedding industry for over 15 years. We've been planning weddings across the United States. We love planning weddings. Hello, hi Dave. Hi Mon, it's me Mon. Welcome. And we've been planning weddings across the US for over 15 years. We love what we do. But I think that because of our experience and because of the demand, there has been and still continues to be a lot of demand for our services, our prices continue to go up. And next thing you know, we were serving people with super top budgets, which is not bad. It's great for us, right? But my vision was to bring high quality wedding planning to everyone. no matter what your budget is, if your budget's 20K, if your budget's 25, 40K, I want you to have high quality wedding planning services, especially in this day and age, right? Especially with our experience. I really want to use our experience to give you quality service for less versus just using our experience to charge more per wedding. And so that's where Wedded Details came along, and that's what we've been doing for a while, and we love it, okay? Hello, ooh, Piscean Goddess. Okay, you're gonna have to help me with how to pronounce that, but welcome. Excited to have you here. We're so passionate about helping all couples across the US. All couples, whether you're planning a multicultural wedding, definitely our Black queens and our Black kings, with having amazing weddings, right, on any budget. That's what we're here for, and that's what we're here to support you with. That said, in order to plan a wedding on a budget, it does take strategy. You don't get to just pray and guess on a bunch of stuff, pay a bunch of vendors, and hope it all comes together. It doesn't work that way. It takes strategy, and that's why we love what we do. Hi, Nicole. And in supporting, you know, people to plan amazing weddings on any budget. So that's what we do here. We're excited to be here, and we're excited to support you. Now, today we're talking about reasons that your $50,000 wedding budget isn't working. It doesn't really matter what your budget is. It could be 20K, it could be 100K, anywhere in between. But if you feel stretched thin on your wedding budget and you're like, I don't know how to make this thing work, and I feel like I'm spending a good amount of money, this is for you, all right? So let's go ahead and talk about that. Hi, Divya. So number one, there are 3 reasons. Hi, Tommy. Hey, everybody. There are 3 main reasons that I want to get into why your 50K wedding budget is not working for you and how to get back on track. All right. So number 1 is also probably one of the most common reasons, right? Hello. Hi, Harper. One of the most common reasons, right, is that you overspent on the budget. You overspent on the venue. Sorry. I can't tell you how many people overspend on their wedding venue. Hey, Shay Mama. Hey, how are you? I can't tell you how many people overspend on their wedding venue. Right, Jillian, Turner, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me know your first name, what city you're joining from, and when you're getting married, all right? Let me know in the chat. That helps me to, you know, address you directly. But welcome, we're excited to have you. Number 1, you're overspending on the venue, and you may not realize it. Most people don't realize it. A lot of people will go into a venue, go on a venue search, and let the venue tell you whether or not you can afford them. They're always going to say you can afford them, and they're always going to try to sell, right, to whoever, right? You could go in there with a $40,000 budget, and they're charging you $39.99, and they're going to tell you you can afford it. And you cannot, because even with an all-inclusive venue, there are so many other expenses that you have to pay for. You cannot spend 90%, 80%, even 70% of your budget on a venue, even if it includes catering and linen and all of that. You will not make your budget. You're gonna go over budget, guaranteed, right? Hey, Carolyn. Hi, Emily. I don't know who user is, but welcome. John, Brandon, welcome. Now let me know. Tell me if you're lurking or if you're multitasking. Or Letitia, hi. Don't lurk. Do me a favor. Drop in the chat your city and when you're getting married. All right. It could be a month and a year, but let me know when you're getting married and what city you're getting married in. All right. But overspending on your venue looks like spending 50%. 80%, 90% of your budget on a venue, even if it says all-inclusive, because there's no such thing, okay? All-inclusive usually means all-inclusive of the venue and catering. It's not all-inclusive of everything you need to have an amazing wedding. It never is. It will never be all-inclusive of everything you need. No matter what they tell you, you need a lot that is not included in that venue, okay? And even if you do go with a venue that's a rental, again, a lot of times people are overspending and then saying, oh yeah, we'll just make up for it somewhere else. And that's not gonna happen, right? Particularly if you're on a tight budget. Hi, Christelle, Julia, Isabella, all of you guys. Hello, hello, hello. Excited to see you guys on. HEC, Miggy, Edwin. So excited to have so many people on today. But yeah, thanks guys for joining. And I want you to know, hey, do not overspend on your venue. Now, if you're like, ooh, I'm in the venue search process right now, and I want to make sure I don't overspend. One thing that we have for you, you can go ahead and visit weddeddetails.com/TikTok. So weddeddetails.com, just one D in the middle, /TikTok, or you can just fill out the form that's pinned to the page. It should still be pinned. Let me just make sure it's still pinned. But that's pinned to the page. Yep, it says it's already added. So I'll pin it again. Make sure you fill out that form. We will send you a link where you can purchase our venue search service. And I'm telling you, It's phenomenal. It's $49, super cheap, right? And we will review your current venue, but like if you're like, oh, I've already looked at a couple venues, upload the contracts or proposals they sent you, and then let us know your preferences, let us know what's important to you. Within 5 business days, we'll give you feedback on the venue you're looking at, and we'll also send you a bunch of other venues in your budget. Now, this is really great because recently we just onboarded a new client, and she traveled. She's planning her wedding out of state, right? So she flew to another state. She started looking at venues, setting up tours, doing all that stuff. And she was like, hey, I'm spending the next 2 weeks looking at venues. I'm interested in booking you guys, but I want to wait a couple weeks, right? So she did that. She waited a couple weeks. We stayed in touch. And when she got back home, she's like, okay, now I want to move forward. And she sent us the contracts for the venue she was looking at, and they were way over budget. Now, they were within her total budget, but there was no room for anything else. So we sent her back, these are venue options. This is how much you should spend on your venue to make sure you don't go over budget. And here are some alternatives to consider. So you can look at everything holistically and decide, A, am I gonna pick one of these alternatives so I stay within budget? Or am I going to consciously just decide that I'm increasing my budget? Maybe before I thought I was gonna plan a wedding for $30,000, and now I'm making the decision ahead of time, I'm gonna increase my budget to $45,000, and I feel good about it before signing the venue. One of the things we believe here at Wedded Details is that you should plan before you pay. I need somebody to type that in the chat. Plan before you pay. Plan before you pay. The reason most people get in trouble when it comes to planning weddings, when people complain on social media and say, oh my gosh, I'm way over budget, it's the vendor's fault. No, people are paying before they plan. You're paying before you have a clear plan for what things cost. You're paying before you have a clear plan for what your preferences cost and what that means, right, for the choices you should be picking, so you're not paying overage fees. You're paying before you plan, and that is what's always going to send you over budget. It's going to send you over budget in anything. But when it comes to planning a wedding, and especially if you're like, listen, my budget is $50K, and I'm not trying to go $1 over, you need to plan before you pay. I need somebody to type that in the chat. Plan before you pay. Plan before you pay. Plan before you pay, and that's what we do at Wedded Details, all right? So go ahead, fill out the form, and we'll send you the link where you can plan before you pay. Before you pay that venue that $5,000 deposit on the $25,000 invoice, you may want to allow us to help you to plan. Before you pay that photographer $7,000, knowing that your total wedding budget is $25,000, you may want to let us help you, right, with planning and mapping all of that out. So plan before you pay. That's number one. So number one reason that a lot of people go over budget on their total wedding is because you overspent on the venue in the first place, okay? And there's a few different ways you can do that. The venue costs, obviously, but also going with a venue that has really expensive alcohol packages or really expensive catering packages that you didn't incorporate at the beginning. There's so much to think about, and that's why we just like to do it for you as a service. It's so affordable, $49. $49 could literally save you 10 grand. Paying $49 to let us help you in the beginning stages of planning can help you save 10 grand later on from mistakes that you didn't know to look out for. It is beyond worth it, and that's what we love to do. All right, so we've had so many new people join. Francis, Clown, CMVO, Peggy, Marie, everybody, thank you. Pristine Goddess, Linda, Bar. Thanks so much, guys, for joining. So number one, write it down, right? The number one reason that a lot of people go over budget is getting a venue that costs too much. Now, the number two reason is literally what I've been reiterating. You got to plan before you pay, right? So a lot of people are paying before they plan. So your budget is, let's just say your budget is $50,000, right? Why your $50,000 budget isn't working. Let's say your budget is $50,000. You signed for a venue that costs $35,000, but it's all inclusive, right? $35,000 venue. Then you picked a photographer that costs $8,000. We're up to $43,000 now, right? And then you picked a wedding dress that costs $5,000. So now you're at $48,000, no decor, no DJ, no videographer, no content creator, okay? No wedding planner, no makeup, no hair, no hotel. Do you see how problematic this is? You cannot fit all those other things in the last $2,000 you got left. You have to plan before you pay. And so in the same way that I'm saying that you need to plan how much to spend on the wedding venue, right, based off of your total wedding budget, we have to do the same thing with every other category. Every other category. You know, with Wedded Details, when we're planning weddings, the things that we do, and by the way, make sure you fill out the form. There's a form pinned there. Make sure you fill it out. One of the things that we always do is make sure that as soon as your venue's booked, we give you the breakdown, how much to spend in each other category. We actually give that to you when you do the, at the venue search as well. But we give you the breakdown of, okay, this is how much you're going to spend on everything else, so you don't go over, and this is how much of everything you need, right? How many hours of photography or whatever else. This is what you're going to actually need, so that you're not surprised, you're not confused. Because so many people are overspending on things other than the venue. And then you wait to the end when you realize that the budget's gone, there's no money left. And you're like, okay, how do I fix this? Honestly, at that point, you can't. You just are gonna have to increase your budget or like get a friend to photograph your wedding. And it's a devastating thing to realize at the end that you overspent at the beginning and now you're out of money at the end. Every element of a wedding is important, all of them. So you want to make sure you budget adequately so you get everything you need and your day comes together smoothly, right? It's a full process. There's no one thing that's more important. Food is not more important than photos. Photos are the only thing you're going to have left once the wedding's over. But people are going to remember if the food was nasty. Everything is important. So we want to plan for all of that. So you want to plan before you pay. Don't just pay and pray. Okay? We need to plan, then you pay. And that's where we come in, all right? So that's the first thing that we do with our full planning service, is just coming up with that plan for you, all right? Again, if you haven't booked a venue yet, make sure we're gonna send you the link, or you can, if you go to the TikTok link in bio, you'll see it there. Go to weddeddetails.com/TikTok. So weddeddetails.com/TikTok, and you can just go ahead and just grab it right now, right? Let us help you find your venue. And again, even if you already have a venue in mind, so many people come to us and they're like, hey, I've already looked at this venue. I'm pretty sure I like it and I want to book it. That's the perfect time to either hire us for full service, or if you're just on the fence, hire us for the venue search process. We will compare that with other options and let you know what the right choices are for you and the implications. Because once you sign on the dotted line, you're kind of locked in. So we'll help you before you get locked in, okay? We'll plan before you pay the big invoice, all right? So that's pretty much how that goes. There's so many people joining. Caroline, Happy Trail Kelly, Spiritual High, Maya, hi, Janice, all of you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Do me a favor, drop in the chat, where are you based and when is your wedding, all right? So far I've already shared two ways that people, I'm gonna log into TikTok Live Studio. I'm not seeing you guys' messages, but 2 ways that people are, three reasons that people overspend. Number 1 is you overspend on the venue. Number 2 is that you're just paying and praying. You're not planning before you pay, right? So that's not good. And the last reason that a lot of people, are going over budget is last minute expenses, because you didn't plan adequately for your needs at the beginning. And this is also incredibly popular, right? It's a really, really, really big thing that happens a lot. So what this looks like is you're going through the wedding planning process. You need somebody to take pictures, and a photographer tells you, hey, I have this 5-hour photography package. It's nice and cheap. It's like $2,000. Like, you should just go ahead and lock that in, right? And you say, oh my gosh, this is perfect. Are you going to get my ceremony and my reception? And they say, yeah. And then you lock that in. Then later on, a month, maybe 2 before your wedding, you realize you want to take pre-wedding photos, like in the morning, and you want to do a first look, and you want to do all these other things and a farewell. So now you're paying for 4 extra hours, 3 to 4, 5 extra hours at the additional hour rate, which is always more expensive than if you had just booked the 10-hour package from the beginning. Right? And so not only, one of the things for us is that not only are we, yes, of course, we're going to help you with booking the right vendors, finding vendors that are affordable and all of that. But you also want to make sure that you're booking the right packages at the beginning, because that's where you avoid these last minute fees, right? It happens in every category. With makeup artists, there can be last minute fees. With day of coordinators, there can be last minute fees. With every category can come with last minute fees if you haven't considered all of your needs up front. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, as somebody getting married, you can't, even if you've been married before, you probably still haven't thought through all of the logistics, right? You need a professional. You need a professional to help you and to help you to see, okay, what are the things that are needed, right? You need to just share your preferences and let a professional lay it out for you. Let a professional architect your wedding for you and come up with what you need in every category. So for us, when we're coming up with, okay, this is how much you're gonna spend on photography, we're also telling you, this is how much you're gonna spend based off of your preferences. This is how many hours you need. This is this is how many shooters you need, like all of these things, so that you're getting the best deal up front, because you're always gonna get the best deal up front. Those add-ons are always gonna come at a higher rate, almost every time, right? So literally, the reason that your 50K wedding budget is not working for you, the reason that you feel like you're going over budget, the reason you feel like you don't have enough money, even though you feel like you're spending a lot, the reason you feel like you're spending a lot on your wedding, but you still don't have enough money to pull it off, is because you're paying before you plan. And by the way, going on the internet or ChatGPT and getting some generic planning template with a generic budget thing that you just plug in some numbers and it spits something out is not what I'm talking about when it comes to planning. When we're planning and we're coming up with things, we're looking at what do things actually cost in your city. Because again, we do planning nationwide. No matter what city you're in, we can help you, right? But what do things actually cost today for a human being to come and do this for you on your wedding day? What are the caveats that you need to consider to either make sure you're maximizing your budget, spending the least and getting the most, and also just to make sure that it's meeting your needs, right? We're considering all of those things. It's not just a spreadsheet, it's not just ChatGPT, it's not just some in and out system. It's humans, right? Based off of experience and what things actually take. So that's what we love to do, is planning beautiful weddings and also making sure that things are going smoothly. So again, just to recap really quick, the topic for today's Wedding Wednesday, which is our first one ever, but the topic for today is why is your 50K budget is not working? Why you're spending a lot, depending on what city you're in, you're probably spending more than the average cost of a wedding in your city. You can just Google right now, what's the average cost of a wedding in my city? And your number may be even a little higher than that, but you still feel like, I can't figure out how to make this work. The issue is that you need expert planning. You need an expert to support you, right? And that's what we do. And honestly, we do it for people of all budgets, right? I'm not talking about hiring that $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 wedding planner. I know a lot of you are like, listen, I've inquired about wedding planning, and that $15,000 thing they're doing, I don't need that. I just need support. I just need guidance on which way to go to make sure that it works well. I need someone to send me vendors that I can afford and that are gonna meet my needs, right? My style, my vision, my vibe, all of that. That's what we do. That's what we specialize in, right? And we also do it quickly. So even if you're like, I'm planning a wedding in 6 months, we can help you. You can have your venue booked and your complete vendor list in less than 60 days, easily. So you can have everything booked in 90 days. And even if you're planning a wedding in 1.5 years, why not book all your vendors in the next 60 to 90 days and then just enjoy the rest of your engagement, enjoy your bachelorette trip, enjoy your bridal shower, fittings, and just enjoy being engaged. Maybe even go on a pre-moon. Why not do that? Why do we need to stretch it out and make it more stressful than it needs to be? That's what we love to do, and that's what we believe, right? So again, the 3 reasons that you are struggling, the 3 reasons that your 50K wedding budget is not working for you is, number 1, you overspent on your venue. And if you're seeing this and you have not signed on the dotted line for your venue, I am begging you, fill out the form that's pinned in this video. If you don't see it, I think it's still pinned. If you don't see it, go to the link in our bio or visit weddeddetails.com/TikTok and make sure you grab the venue, the Dream Wedding Venue Search service. It's $49, and that $49 can very easily save you 10 grand on your wedding, right? We will support you with that. That's number 1. Number 2, reason that your 50K wedding budget's not working for you is because you're paying before you plan. you're paying vendors before you have a professionally planned budget, right? So you're overspending on a lot of categories and then at the last minute trying to figure out how to make everything else fit, right? And then number 3 reason is because you're paying extras at the end for things that you could have gotten at a better package deal up front. Things that are surprises to you that would not be surprises to us, by the way, as your professional planners. Over 15 years, we've seen it all. It's not a surprise to us. Those last minute fees are not a surprise to us. We would have caught it, right? But now you're paying premium because you're adding things on at the last minute that you could have gotten at a better package deal up front. And so now maybe you were on track, but then at the last minute, your budget just ballooned up, right? Because there were a lot of things you didn't think about. None of this is worth it. You want to plan before you pay, all right? That's the thing I've been saying throughout. You want to plan before you pay, plan before you pay. And when I say plan, get a professional plan that's thorough, that is based off of experience, and that's realistic, because at the end of the day, you're only going to have your wedding once. So this wedding that you're planning right now is only going to happen one time. And you don't want to have regrets after the fact. After the fact saying, man, I wish I had a wedding planner to help me so that I didn't go this far over budget. You know, like, yes, you can post it on Reddit to try to help another bride, but that doesn't do anything for you, right? What works for you is to make sure that it's thoroughly planned from the beginning so that you have the experience you dreamed of. That's what you really, really want, right? So make sure that if you haven't already done so, make sure you visit, you fill out the little form that's pinned. I'm going to just double check and make sure it's pinned. I'm going to play it again. Make sure you complete the form, right? Make sure you fill it out, and we will send you the next steps. You can also click the link in our bio to grab that. All right. So this is great. If you're just joining us, do not worry. Do not worry. I'm going to go ahead and restart. We're going to start from the beginning just to make sure you get all of the information that you need. All right. So just make sure you get all the information that you need. All right. All right. So just to make sure you get everything that you need, let's just go ahead. All right. Hi, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So we are here. It is Wedding Wednesday. It's our first one, but it's definitely not the last. This is becoming a weekly series. So every week you can find us here. Okay. We are your late night wedding besties, and we're here to make sure that you have a beautiful and seamless wedding, no matter what your wedding budget is. No matter what your wedding budget is, we're here to make sure you have a phenomenal planning experience, and that you get the support that you need. So a little bit about me. My name is Faishola. I am a retired computer engineer and a process-oriented analyst. So all that means is that I'm really good at streamlining things and getting things done efficiently, right? But also done well. And so after over 15 years in the wedding industry, planning beautiful weddings, like multi-six-figure weddings, being flown across the country to plan weddings, and I don't mean to brag, dozens of wedding magazine features, including The Knot, being asked to be interviewed on the types of weddings that we've done, planning weddings as big as 700 guests, some that are as small as 30 guests. We've done it all. We've gotten to the point where, you know, we love what we do and we love being able to plan those lavish events, but really at the core, like my true heart behind everything is being able to serve as many couples as possible to have a stress-free planning experience, right? Just because you're not planning a $200,000 wedding doesn't mean that you deserve to be stressed throughout the process or curious or not have guidance. It doesn't mean that you have all day and all night to plan your wedding, right? So we're here to help you to get that support, get the help, the feedback, and for us to just get in there with you, right? And help you throughout your wedding planning process. That's why I created Wedded Details. We've been able to work with so many clients, and honestly, even wedding planners. We support wedding planners. There's some wedding planners who are outsourcing their logistics to us because we're that good. And you know, in addition to planning weddings, I'm also a wedding speaker. I speak at wedding conferences. I train other wedding planners on how to plan weddings. That is literally the expertise that you have at your fingertips for way less than you can find anywhere else when you choose Wedded Details. All right. So that's a little bit about us and the heart behind Wedded Details. Now, the reason we're doing this live, the reason I'm doing this TikTok live is that I know in this day and age, let's be real, a lot of us are zoomed out. We don't want to have to do our hair, put the wig on, put on foundation, and put on a real shirt to hop on Zoom and talk to somebody about hiring them for our wedding. We're like, a lot of us are just like, I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to do that. Hopping on TikTok live, I don't even see you. Could be under the covers, but taking notes, and that's great. You get to be comfortable. All right. So I'm bringing it to you where you are. I'm bringing the information to where you are. And I'm here to help you to plan a phenomenal wedding, right? So I'm bringing it to you. All right. So here we are. Yeah, so we're just bringing it to you. That's literally it, is to make it easy, right? If you're like, I don't feel like scheduling a Zoom call, I don't feel like getting on a Zoom consultation, I don't want to do none of that. I just want to have the information come to me. That's what we're doing right now, right? It's after work, you're home, you're cozy. Let's talk about your wedding challenges, and all of that. All right? So now let's talk about the topic for today. Today's topic is why your $50K wedding budget is not working for you. Why? And by the way, this topic is not what you think. This is not me convincing you to spend more than $50K. Absolutely not. I'm not trying to convince you to spend more than $50,000 on your wedding. However, if you feel like your $50K wedding budget is not working for you, there's a reason. There's a reason. And I want to help you through that. All right. I was just looking at analytics. All right. By the way, if you haven't already done so, make sure you like this video, hit the like button, let TikTok know that this is exciting. Let TikTok know that, that we're doing some good stuff in here and giving some good value. I'm not here to convince you to spend more than $50K. If your budget's $30K, I'm not here to convince you to spend more than $30K. I'm not trying to overspend your budget. That's one of the unique things about our approach to wedding planning, is that we're not trying to make you go over budget. However, you will go over budget without a clear plan. And you will go over budget if you don't avoid some of the mistakes that I'm about to share with you. You will, with or without a planner, you may spend more than the cost of a planner in mistakes, right? If you don't listen to some of the things that I'm sharing to you. So, whether your budget's 20K or 200K, you can make use of this. But let me just help you to understand, all right? There are a few budgetary mistakes that people make that I think encompass over 80% of people who go over budget. Now, there's some people who go over budget because you were just kind of hoping to spend $50K, but you knew in your heart of hearts that you would spend up to $75K to get what you really want. That's a different story, because you're probably going to keep seeing things that you want on the internet and then just add random stuff, like a super crazy sweets table and super crazy decor. And that's a totally different story. But for those who are listen, 50K, that's the max of the max. And I'm not trying to go over that, right? And you find yourself struggling, or you're worried because you've seen so many other people talk about how impossible it is to stick to your budget. I'm gonna help you for free. Most people do not know how to stick to a budget. And to be honest, that even includes a lot of wedding planners. That even includes a lot of wedding professionals. A lot of wedding professionals do not stick to a budget. They just kind of go with the flow as you go, right? But for us, our approach has always been to architect the wedding first and then fill it in with the vendors that fit every time. So if you are truly trying to plan a wedding, for 30 grand or so, we can help you. We've helped clients who are planning 2-day weddings for $50K. 2 days, two days for 50 to 60K. We can help you. Now, the smaller your budget, the more flexible you're gonna have to be. But it can be done. But you can't come to me after you finish booking all your vendors and you're already $20,000 over budget and then asking how we can help you. It does not work that way. Everything about sticking to that budget comes from having a solid plan from the beginning. From the beginning. And that is why our most popular service is our full planning service, because we help you from the beginning. Now, from the beginning is different for some people. For some people, you're I haven't even started looking at venues. Honestly, that's the best place to be, and we'll help you. For some of you, you're oh, I looked at a few venues and I think I found my favorite. That's still an excellent place to be, because you haven't signed on the dotted line yet. We can show you, we can look over the venue contract, give you feedback, and give you alternatives. So you have some things to compare before you sign on the dotted line. Okay. And for some of you, you've already signed on the dotted line for a venue, and that's okay as well. We will do our best to maximize the rest of your budget and give you guidance on how to rein everything else in. Okay. But at the end of the day, we always take a budget first approach, to support you through with planning your wedding. So at this point, I just want to know if anyone has any questions, right? I'm about to start over with the 3 reasons that, your 50K budget isn't working for you. So hang tight. We're going to run through it super fast. But I also want to know, do you have any questions, right? I really, really want to know. Drop them in the chat. I'm really excited. I'm really, really, really excited to see any questions that you guys might have. I want to make this as interactive as possible. So drop any questions. If you're not sure what to ask, you can also just say, my name's Faye. Hey, my name is Faye. I'm getting married in Maryland hopefully in September or October 2027. You can just say that. And then anything else you want to add. I'm hoping for 200 guests. My favorite color is pink, or whatever else you want to add. And I can go from there as well. All right. But just drop any questions that you have and I'll be more than happy to address them. But again, today's topic is why your 50K wedding budget is not working for you. And this applies whether your budget is 20K, 50K, or 100K. We're going to talk about why. If you feel stretched in your budget, we're going to talk about why. All right. So welcome to all of you guys who just joined. Divalicious, Deb, Connie, Mel, Nikki. We've had so many people join. It's so hard to keep up. Genevieve, April, all of you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Super excited to have you guys here. Morales. Hi, with the sunglasses. All right. Great. All right. If you have any other questions, please drop them in the chat. I want to make sure I see them and answer them. All right, so now we're going to go through rapid fire. The reason your 50K wedding budget is not working, okay? If you're 50K, if you feel like, okay, my budget is 50K, I checked on Google and Google says that, Google told me that the average cost of a wedding in my city is like, Google told me the average cost of the wedding in my city is like $35,000. My budget's 50K, but I still feel like I have no money left. So why is that? We're going to talk a little bit about that now. Okay. So the number one reason that your 50K wedding budget isn't working for you is you overspent on your venue. You just spent too much on your venue. And it's not what you think. It's not, your budget was 50K and you spent 60K on your venue. No. Spending even 80% of your budget on your venue, even if it is an all-inclusive venue, is too much. All right. So hi, Morales. Hi, Love Samson Cat. Hi, Divalicious Deb. Hello. Ultimately, if you are spending that much on your wedding budget, you're overspending. You overspent. And you're going to go over budget. I can almost guarantee it, right? Because you don't have enough left for all of the other things. And let me help you. Even an all-inclusive venue, it does not include everything you need to plan a wedding. It just includes everything you need for catering along with the venue space. Okay? So having everything you need for catering along with the venue space is not the same as everything you need for your venue. Some examples of things that are never going to be included, I can take you to the bank, that are never going to be included in an all-inclusive venue are photography, video, makeup. Even if there's a bridal suite, it may not be early enough for you and your bridesmaids to get your makeup done on time. In many cases, decor, or at least not the decor you want, if you want something custom. Sometimes even the bark package, right? There's a lot more to pay for that's not in the budget. In a lot of places, the cake is not included, right? So, and you cannot fit all of that in 10% of your wedding budget. So you have to make sure that you're not overspending. So one of the things that we love to do, it's something that's always been included in our full planning package for people who hire us to plan from beginning to end. But now we've made it available as a standalone thing. It's just $49. If you click the form that I have pinned, it should still be pinned. Let me double check. But even if you don't see it, you can click the link in our bio, or you can just visit weddeddetails.com/TikTok. We'll send you the link where you can learn, where you can sign up for our venue search service. We will literally find your wedding venue for you, right? We'll find multiple options for you to choose from that are within your budget, that are a reasonable price within your budget, and also give you tips on things to consider. Like, oh yeah, this is a pro for here. This is why this is a good space. This is something to consider here. If you choose this venue, you're gonna have to spend this much more money on furniture, like all of that, so that you have an idea of what you're doing, right? Hello, Invite Marie, Divalicious, JR Stream. Hello, hi, how are y'all? Carlitos, excited to have y'all on. But we'll do all of that for you, right? And even if you're like, ooh, I already went looking for venues and I found a venue that I'm pretty sure I want to book, like I'm like 80% sure on this venue, perfect. Book the venue search service. Let us know your preferences for a venue and also for your wedding overall, and then also upload the contract or the proposal or whatever you got from the venue so far, and we'll review all those things together and we'll give you feedback on it all. All right, so we'll give you a professional eye for a ridiculously low rate. And then once we complete that, you'll get to see how we work, and you can decide if you want to continue with our full planning service, right? And we'll find the rest of your vendors, build your timeline, your task list, all that good stuff, all right? Hey, Toasty Lobster. Hi, Divalicious Deb. Welcome, welcome. So this is what we love to do. All right, so make sure, if you haven't already done so, visit weddeddetails.com/TikTok or fill out the form, all right? Now, the other thing that people and also with venues, you can overspend on the venue through required vendors, right? There are some venues that say, if you book us, you have to book this caterer, or if you book us, you have to book this decor team or whatever. And sometimes the venue's affordable, but those other vendors are not. Those other vendors are, and now you're locked in because you chose this venue. Right? So sometimes that's part of it. Sometimes some of y'all, you want the over the top decor, you want the fancy stuff, and then you book the venue that gives you 1 hour of setup time. Guess what? You're gonna pay for every other hour of setup time on top of the rental costs, because there's really nothing fancy that can be set up in an hour. Nothing. Not an arch, not nothing. All right. So these are the things that we look out for when we're recommending venues to you for you to consider for your wedding day, and also reviewing the contracts for anything that you have. So number one place that a lot of people overspend, which is really difficult to fix. You cannot overspend by $15,000 on your venue and then say, oh, we'll just make it up in other places. You won't. It's just too much, right? So is with the venue, particularly all-inclusive venues. Now, the number two reason people go over budget a lot is when it comes to booking your vendors, the rest of your vendors. One thing that I've been saying earlier, if you've been on for a while, is you have to plan before you pay. You got to make a plan. You have to have a solid, professional, reviewed plan from an experienced person, right? Before you pay for anything, before you make any big expenses, you need a plan. You need a plan. But what a lot of people do is they pay a bunch of vendors before they have a plan. Some people say, oh my gosh, my dream photographer costs $8,000 and my venue is already $10,000, but I have to have this dream photographer. So I booked him. So you done paid $18,000 out of your $25,000 budget, and you expect everything else to fit in the $7,000 that's left. It doesn't work like that, right? So you have to plan upfront before you spend anything. And the more, especially if you really want to stick to that budget, and even if you don't, even if you're flexible, it's better to plan upfront so that you are making conscious decisions throughout instead of just reacting to mistakes from the past. Reacting to the fact that you overspent in the past, right? Because all of us have done it where and not even just in weddings, all of us have done that where it's like, ooh, if I knew I could have done this, I probably would have gone this route instead, right? If I knew that these two were going to end up being the same price, I would have done this instead. This is nicer, it's better, it's more of what I like. And that's what having a solid plan from the beginning is, right? We help you, and a solid plan looks like this. It is a detailed budget, meaning exactly what to spend for every category, and also how many hours of service you need for each person and the specs that you need. If you have a wedding party, it's a wedding party with 10 bridesmaids, how many makeup artists you need for everything to go smoothly and for people to not be killing each other and tired and exhausted by the time makeup is over. All of those specs come in that upfront plan, right? So that everything is incorporated and you're moving smooth. Everything's are moving smoothly, right? So the next, so that's number two. So number one is overspending on the venue. Number two, it's paying for a whole bunch of high-end vendors before having a solid plan. That's another reason that a lot of people go over budget. And hello, everybody. I see a lot of people do. Let's just Deb, Liv, Giselle, Lucky Lens. I think that's what that says. Wale Kadane, Adeline, so many people. Toasty Lobster, welcome, welcome, welcome. But the two things, just to summarize the ones I just talked about, was overspending on your venue, especially a venue that says that they're all inclusive or they include everything. Nobody does, right? So there's still many other expenses outside of that. Number two is the number of booking your other vendors before you have a solid plan. And a solid plan is not something that ChatGPT spit out. And a solid plan is not just like a spreadsheet that like auto calculates what to pay, because that spreadsheet is not keeping in mind what things actually cost in 2026 and 2027. They can't say, ooh, yeah, I know your budget's kind of tight, but you're not going to find a videographer for $500. There's no way that you can, you know, they're not keeping in mind the fact that you want a video of the whole day and that that's not possible to do for $500. They're not moving things around according to what things actually cost in this day and age, right? And so you're probably gonna end up disappointed in the end anyway. So that's number two. Now, number three is surprise costs at the end. And I'm gonna be honest with you, those surprise costs at the end are not surprises to us. I don't remember the last time that we saw a quote unquote a surprise cost, right? That, you know, a cost that came in at the last minute, where, you know, oh, we didn't see this coming. You just The only times that we've had last minute costs has been because the client changed their mind about something and wanted to add something on at the last minute. And in a lot of cases, they knew from the beginning, like, oh yeah, if I have money left over, I'm gonna get this, right? Which is not the same thing as being surprised. That to get the core thing that you wanted from the beginning, you're gonna have to spend more money. An example of this looks like, you know, if you're searching for wedding photographers and you go out there and you're like, I'm just gonna go whoever has the cheapest price. And you find a photographer who's like, oh yeah, I could shoot your wedding for 4 hours, you know, and it'll only cost $1,500. And you're like, cool, I'm sold, right? You sign the contract, but then later on you realize, ooh, I need pictures of the decor before we open the room. I want to do a first look with my bridesmaids. I want to do a first look with my mom and my dad. I want to do pictures with my family before the wedding so that I can go to cocktail. And all these things are coming up. And very quickly, that 4-hour photography package now needs 4 extra hours, but that photographer charges $500 an hour. So now you went from paying $1,500 to paying $3,500. Where you probably could have paid someone else less than $3,500 for an $8,000 package from the beginning. That is where last minute, first of all, obviously you weren't planning for the extra $2,000 from the beginning probably, but also like you could have gotten a better deal if you were clearer on what you needed from the beginning, which is something that I'm going to, you know, just be transparent with you. You can't do alone. You need an expert to say, hey, okay, to ask you questions up front that are going to affect the budget later on, and then give you advice that ensures that you're getting what you need up front and that you don't have these surprise fees at the end. That's what we do with our full planning service, right? When you book us, again, if you haven't booked your venue, we help you with finding your venues. In 5 days or less, we will send you a list of venues that are in your budget and all of that. Once your venue is booked, we get to work on every other vendor category. Within 5 business days, you'll have every other vendor category in your inbox, as long as with the budget breakdown and exactly what to copy paste send to each person. You also have the option to upgrade to have us reach out to vendors on your behalf. It really just depends. But again, we kind of broke down our packages a little bit for people who are like, hey, I just need help. I don't mind reaching out, but I just want to make sure I have a solid plan. You can go with our package with no add-ons. We help you because instead of going back and forth with vendors, we'll give you everything you need to put in that first email so you get the right quote up front. It's nice and clear. It's nice and quick. It's smooth. It's affordable. And you're getting expert advice. Again, don't forget, like I said, I've been planning weddings for over 15 years. The girls on my team who support us over a decade as well. So that's who's supporting you throughout the planning process, people with over a decade of experience. And then not only that, once we get into that, we have, you can chat with us, you can schedule chats and talk about whatever questions are coming up or concerns. You have unlimited email support. We're literally supporting you throughout the whole process. This is the greatest thing I've ever created in my life, Wedded Details. It's the joy of my life to be able to offer wedding planning that's affordable. That's not $15,000. That's not $25,000. But that is high quality. It is the joy of my life to do this. It is the best thing I've ever created. And I'm really excited to help as many couples avoid some of these mistakes that I just shared, right? All of these mistakes about, overspending on the venue, overspending, paying for a bunch of vendors, and then at the 11th hour, realizing that, oh my gosh, I don't have enough budget left, right? Helping you with avoiding the mistake of having last minute add-ons that should have been there from the beginning. So now you're overspending there as well. It's the joy of my life to do that. So someone said, ooh, tell me more. I think you might have joined right when I finished explaining, but just a little bit about us. So my name is Faye Shola. Believe it or not, I went to an Ivy League university and got a computer engineering degree just to graduate and realize that my passion is event planning. It's a long story how I got there, but I decided to chase my passion. And now over 15 years later, I am running this event planning company, right? Now we've planned phenomenal events across the country, multi-six-figure weddings, like super high-end events, but I didn't feel good about having a service that only met the needs of those at the top end of the budget chain. And so, and of course we've been in many magazines, we've been featured in a lot of places, but now my focus, right? Like my team does those weddings now, but my focus is here on Wedded Details and helping to produce affordable weddings across the country. And also to do it efficiently. Part of the reason that we can offer it affordably is because we do it in such an efficient manner. We've broken it down in an efficient manner. And to be honest, our clients are elated because they get what they need without having to be in meetings all the time. How many people do you know who are planning a wedding and they're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm in a call with my wedding planner every day and we're not making any progress and we're just talking and talking and talking and nothing's happening. That's not how we are. A lot of our clients get everything they need without hopping on Zoom very often. While we're available and we make it available, it's part of the package, so use it, right? But a lot of people are like, oh, this is exactly what I needed. And they're able to, it just makes it simple to run with it. We literally have a client now planning their wedding start to finish in 4 months. 4 months. Start to finish. No venue, no nothing. A 2-day wedding at that. No nothing. Start to finish in 4 months. Right? Because we're able to get her venue options, vendor options, and everything very quickly. And so we offer affordable wedding planning packages across the country, but you still get our expert support and advice. And it's literally the best thing I've ever created. I'm beyond proud of this. And I'm telling you this as somebody who has coded programs. I've worked in application development. I've planned multi-six-figure weddings across the country and also internationally. But Wedded Details is the thing that I'm proud of and the thing that I put all of my time into. Okay? So when you sign up for Wedded Details, you're still getting the A team. You're getting the A team for less. Okay? So if you were on the fence, now's the time to kind of get off the fence. But this is where I need you to do me a favor. There's a form here. I'm gonna see if I can pin it. I can't even find it now. Yeah, I haven't done TikTok Live in a while. But yeah, if you fill out this form, we will send you a link with your next steps. You also can just shortcut it. Go to weddeddetails.com. That's weddeddetails.com. So Wedded Details. It's 1D in between the word wedded and details.com/TikTok. And you'll see the next steps. Your next step is going to be one of 3 things. Either number 1, to do our wedding venue search service. It's $49 and we'll find your venue for you. Literally, that service is worth at least $250, but we're giving it to you for $49 because we want to give you a chance to taste what it's like working with us and how efficient and helpful it is. All right. Then your second option would be to just request a wedding planning proposal. If you're like, listen, I'm sold, I just want to get started, you can go ahead and just request your wedding planning service. Ooh, I'm getting a TikTok alert. go ahead and just say, hey, I just want a proposal. What's it gonna cost, right? Just let me know. Just get to the point. Send me the proposal. You can do that also from that same link. And then the last thing that is an option for you is to go ahead and, the last thing that is an option for you is to go ahead and, there's like a freebie that we have, right? How to plan a 50K wedding that looks and feels like a $100,000 wedding. And again, if you're trying to plan a $30,000 wedding that looks and feels like an $80,000 wedding, you can do that too. But the goal is how to save big on your wedding without sacrificing the look and feel of it. That's a freebie. So there's, no matter where you are in your planning journey, one of those is gonna work for you, all right? So I see, okay, form submitted, great. Is this on-site representation on the day of also? Yes. So we partner, like I mentioned earlier in the live, I'm also a coach to many other wedding planners. I help them with planning. And at this point, I've got relationships with thousands of wedding planners across the country. So essentially what we do is that we plan your wedding centrally, and then we work with one of our partners who is phenomenal. Like we have partners, some who I've coached, some who I've not, but they're all like vetted, amazing partners who do the on-site execution. For your final wedding walkthrough, most venues will allow you to do a walkthrough like 30, 60 days beforehand, your rehearsal, and then also your wedding day. So you have an on-site team who's like amazing and they execute. You have us, and doing it this way, it just saves you so much. Instead of spending $8,000, $10,000, $15,000 on a wedding planner, you can do it for $3,500. A little under 35. Like it's like major savings, but you still get the expertise. Good for you. Most people don't honor their passions. Yes, I totally get that. So yeah, so it's super excited to have you guys here. All right. So if you haven't already done so, make sure you go ahead and fill out that form, or you can visit weddeddetails.com/TikTok and fill out the form that you see there. All right. So excited to have all of y'all here. Okay. This is great. Okay. TikTok told me 2 minutes ago that this live is going to end in 5 minutes. So I literally have like 2 minutes to answer any final questions. If you have any questions for me, let me know. Anything that I can answer, like ask me anything about wedding planning, right? Anything you want to know. You can ask me here. You can also just send a DM and we can answer you as well. But let me know, right? Some of you guys have been on for a long time. So I want to hear from you. Like, what's one thing that came up on this live that was helpful or that changed your mind about something? I'd love to hear it. And if not, just let me know your questions. Like, or what's the hardest part about planning your wedding? Sorry, I just joined, but what do you think about having an Airbnb wedding? Yeah, anything is possible, but having an Airbnb wedding, first of all, you gotta read those Airbnb rules. Most Airbnbs don't even allow parties. Talk less of something as elaborate as a wedding. So you wanna make sure that those rules are very clearly read, otherwise you could get shut down, and that's probably the worst case scenario on your wedding day. The other thing to keep in mind is that producing a wedding at home, which it's not your home, but it is a home, can be more expensive than planning a wedding at a venue, because literally everything needs to be brought in from outside, and there's a lot of premiums for deliveries on the same day and pick up on the same day, and it's just a lot. Also, the Airbnb has to be cleaned up a certain way so that you don't get fined by the Airbnb owner. There's a lot to consider. I would strongly advise, if you are considering an Airbnb wedding, you want to fill out our form. I'll pin it again, and upload or put, you have a chance to let us know what Airbnb you're considering. We can look into it, and we can also give you other alternatives to consider. And we'll let you know, hey, based off of everything you've given us, we think this is going to be better for you, or this is going to be better for you. And because there's a lot of considerations if you're offsite, right? Are there enough bathrooms? Like I can't even get into the whole list. How many guests, right? What are the rules? Like there's so much to consider. So Airbnb weddings, doable, fine. You can do a wedding anywhere. You could do a wedding in the middle of a cornfield. You could do it anywhere. The constraints are always venue rules, how much time you have, and how much money you have. If you have endless money, you can do anything. But if you have cost constraints, you got to look at things very thoroughly, right? You got to plan before you pay. If you're trying to manage a budget, any budget, I don't care if your budget's $200,000. Like I said, we've done multi-six-figure weddings before. Even then, $650,000 wedding. Even then, we're looking at the budget. We're figuring out, okay, how do we make it? Like literally, it's always a thing. So it needs to be considered, and I would strongly recommend that you fill out our form, let us know a little bit more, and we will send you the link. And I would strongly recommend that you do our venue search service. You can also sign up for it in the link in our bio here on TikTok. So that was a good question. If there's any other questions, please let me know. Any other questions, please let me know. This has been fun. This is like literally night one of Wedding Wednesday, and it's been fun. It's been really great having you guys on and having you guys here with me. So yeah, let me know what questions you have. Was there anything that I said today that stood out to you? Let me know. All right. So yes, like I said, this is my passion. And right now, when it comes to our high-end weddings, my team is working on those. And I am pretty much 100% focused on wedded details. So you have my attention and we go from there. Where are you located? All right, so Wedded Details is a nationwide wedding planning company. We plan weddings in every country, every city, every state, in the continental United States. We also do weddings in Jamaica, Mexico, right? And Punta Cana, specifically in the Dominican Republic. So that is where our service areas are. Personally, I live in Maryland. However, our services are nationwide, and this is why. I have been in the industry for over 15 years. In addition to planning weddings across the country, I also coach wedding planners across the country. I've also been invited to speak at numerous wedding planning conferences across the country. Between all of those things, I have a community of thousands of wedding planners across the country and access to multiple people who support us as day of coordinators. So we have a nationwide team that can support your wedding wherever you are. Okay, so our central team plans the wedding. We help you with finding the vendors and all of that. And then the local team will coordinate. And the coordination is not just on your wedding day. The coordination starts like 2 months in advance. You get to meet with them, have some final meetings with them. You have your walkthrough, like venue walkthroughs for most places are 3 weeks to 2 months out. Every venue is different, but they'll be there with you as you're making your final selections at the venue, as you're figuring out, okay, well, these are the napkins I want or whatever. They will be there with you for that. They will be there with you for your rehearsal, your wedding ceremony rehearsal, which hopefully you'll be able to have. Again, it does depend on your venue, but as long as you can have one, the on-site team will be there, and your on-site team will be there on your wedding day, from all your pictures to your ceremony, reception, and breakdown. So we are located everywhere. We are located across the United States. So no matter where you are, we can support. Just make sure you complete the form, okay? Make sure you complete the form. We will send you your next steps, all right? Once you complete that form, which I've just pinned again. I hope that answers your questions. All right, any other questions? It could be questions about our services. It could be questions about finding a venue. It could be questions about your budget. If you're like, ooh, I live in this city. Is a budget of, I don't know. I'm planning a wedding for 100 people in, I don't know, Los Angeles, and I don't want to spend more than $40,000. Is this doable? You can ask me any question. Let's leave it in the chat, and I'm here to chat with you, all right? I've got maybe 10, 15 more minutes, but the faster you ask the question, the more time I'll have to answer it, and then we can go from there. But I just want to say thank you for joining us. Hello, Amelie, Dilawit, Matcha. Welcome. Peekaboo, I hope that answered your question. If you have any follow-ups, please let me know. Cutie? I think it's Cutie. Samantha, Pete, Bay. Hello. Excited to have y'all all on. Hi, Allison, everybody. All right. This is your wedding planning Q&A. We just finished talking about why your $50,000 wedding budget is not working for you. If you missed it, here's the quick summary, okay? $50,000 is a lot of money. I know that a lot of people in the wedding industry will say your budget's tight, but it is a lot of money, right? And you may be like, I'm spending all this money and I just cannot find what works for me. So This is why it's not working for you. Number one, you overspent on your venue, thinking that it was going to work because it's an all-inclusive venue, or maybe they upsold it to you. So you spent all your money on the venue and you don't have money for nothing else. It's kind of like people who are house poor. You know, when people say they're house poor, they live in a nice house, but they can't afford nothing else. You could be venue poor when it comes to planning your wedding. And that's number one in the list of 3 reasons why your $50,000 wedding budget is not working for you. Now, number 2 is that you paid before you planned. So you just found a bunch of people who look good and they vibe good and it felt good in the moment. But then you realize later on that, oh my goodness, I got some amazing decor, a cool caterer, but I have no money for photo, video, hair, makeup, hotel, cake. Like, I'm in trouble. You don't want to be in that situation, okay? And so this is why you have to plan before you pay, which is what we help you to do at Wedded Details. We literally will plan up front from the very beginning. This isn't going to be like a guessing game throughout where we just kind of sort of talk about it. No, we'll give you a clear roadmap from the beginning so you have clear guidelines and you're never caught off guard. If you choose to spend $1,000 more on a photographer, that's a choice that you're making consciously to increase your budget and it feels good to you, right? Versus being surprised later and not knowing that you were in the wrong place. And the third reason is that you did not book vendors for what you actually needed up front. You didn't have clear enough understanding of what you needed up front. So now you're paying premium for add-ons at the last minute that you could have gotten at a better rate at the beginning if you had a clear understanding of what you needed. An example would be booking a photographer for 4 hours. And of course the photographer will tell you that 4 hours is enough. It's never enough, right? And then later on realizing that you need 7 hours or 10 hours or whatever, depending on your specs. And now you're paying premium for those extra hours when you could have gotten a better package earlier from this photographer or maybe even another photographer if you had known upfront that that's what you needed. So we map all those things out at the beginning to make sure you don't have these surprise fees and overages at the end and you're not going over. So if any of this is like, oh no, I'm not trying to have none of that, make sure you fill out the form that is pinned. We will send you a link to your next steps. 2 of the 3 next steps are free. Okay, so just make sure you fill out the form. We will send you your next steps and you get to decide, you get to choose your own adventure. If you want us to help you find your venue, if you want us to help you instead with tips on how to plan a 50K wedding for 100K, or give you, or to yeah, pretty much, or to, sorry, I'm just getting rid of spam. But pretty much want to make sure, so we pretty much help you with that. Make sure you're avoiding all these mistakes. Make sure you're picking the right venue. We give you tips on how to plan a high-end event for less. Or you can just request a proposal. If you're like, hey, I'm in the market for a wedding planner. Send me a proposal so I have an idea of what it costs and I can compare. I'm gonna just go ahead and tell you. If it's a 1-day wedding and if your guest count is less than, let's say 200, it's $3,400. Very affordable compared to like the $8,000, $10,000, $15,000 quotes you're gonna get from other places, right? And again, you're working with me, you're working with my team. Both myself and our lead planner have over a decade of experience. I have 15, she has 11 years of experience. So you're working with the best of the best for less, all right? All right, I'm seeing here, it's hard to find a venue in the city I'm in that fits my theme. I would say number 1, you probably wanna go ahead and sign up for our venue search service. I talked earlier about a client that we have that spent 2 weeks, because she was planning a wedding outside of her city, right? And she traveled for 2 weeks to go on venue searches and all of that. And I kept telling her, hey, you probably want to book us while you're out there so we can support you, but she didn't want to do that. And when she came back, then we gave her a bunch of options and her response was, oh my gosh, these are such great options. Like, these are such solid options. And it's like, yeah, I would have preferred to give you those options while you were still there because we move quickly. We're going to give you those options in 5 business days or less, right? And it's not going to take weeks and weeks. But that is the value of what we do. And again, our venue search service is only $49. It's only $49. So spending $49 to find your dream venue and to make sure that you're not overspending and on your budget by $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 is a steal. The service itself, I'll be honest, it's undervalued. Like it really should be about $250. But the goal is that by the end of this venue search service, you'll understand why working with us is going to save you so many hours, so much stress, and ultimately probably a lot of money as well. So that is what we have to offer. It's just a way for you to test our service before committing. All right, so make sure you go ahead and sign up for that venue search service if that's how you feel. Also, keep in mind that in the same way that when it comes to real estate, location is everything. Saying, I want to get married, I don't know what city and state you're in, but I'm just going to give an example. Saying, I'm getting married in New York and I want to get married in Times Square, like in a place where I have a view of like, everything in Times Square, and I want to spend $15,000 on the total wedding, and I want a venue that only costs $2,000. You have to understand that that's asking for a lot, because location matters. Saying, I want to get married in Miami and I want to be on South Beach, which is super high in demand, right? But I want to spend like $2,000 on the venue, is asking for a lot. So you have to also be mindful of like what you're willing to be flexible on. It's kind of like those shows, those house hunting shows when people go house hunting and they're like, oh yeah, I want this and this and this. And some people eventually either increase their budget or they just move. They say they want to be no more than 20 minutes away from work, but maybe they choose a place that's like 35 minutes away from work so that they can get the space they want and the vibe they want. It's the same thing. So there is going to have to, like I said, the lower your budget, the more flexible you have to be about things. If you have an endless budget, you can get anything you want. You can even be built. You can build a venue, right? Literally. And we can support you with that too. But you have to be flexible. But with that, pretty much no matter what, we can find you a beautiful venue. And we can find you venues that you would have never thought of. Like I said, we had a client that traveled for 2 weeks and spent the entire 2 weeks looking for venues. And we still found a bunch of venues that she hadn't even considered. And then she was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And that's what we'd love to do for you. So again, that's what experience gets you, and we'll get that for you quickly. All right, any other questions or wedding planning challenges? This live has been on for an hour and 45 minutes. No, an hour and 15 minutes, yeah. So we're trying to do this for 90 minutes max. So do me a favor, if you have any questions, drop it in the chat. And if you don't know what to ask, just say the number of guests you're having at your wedding, around when you want to have it. That could be September 2027, that could be fall 2027, right? Like just give a general vision for when you want to have your wedding. And then, so guest count, timing, and then also if you can, your budget, right? If you don't want to give me your budget, just let me know a few other things that are important. That'll help me to just be able to respond to you, right? All right, so looking forward to hearing from you guys. All right, we're excited to chat with you too. This is great. Thanks for joining. This is our first ever Wedding Wednesday with Wedded Details. And today's topic is why your 50K budget is not working for you. By now, especially if you've been listening for a while, you know that the answer is we're not trying to make you spend more than 50K. We're never really going to be the planners to make you spend more than what you have. As long as your budget is at least 20 grand, let's say assuming a guest count of 100 to 120, and your budget is at least $20,000, you can absolutely make it happen. You just have to be flexible. Now, the higher your budget, the more options maybe you will have, but that doesn't mean that your wedding won't be beautiful with a lower budget. All right, so excited to have you guys on. Welcome Lucas, JK Bowman. Okay, so I'm ending this pretty quickly, so do me a favor, if you have any questions at all about wedding planning or any challenges or frustrations about wedding planning so far, drop it in the chat because we're ending this very soon. All right, so March 2027, no set budget, 200 people. Okay, great. Yeah, 200 people it's not a tricky number, but I would say once you cross like 150 guests, a lot of venues, like you start to max out a lot of certain venues, right? There are like some country clubs and stuff like that usually have a smaller guest count, but 200 people is still doable for something that's not a hotel. Because hotels, when you start getting into those food and beverage minimums and those extra fees, it can get kind of pricey. And then hotels also usually come with a blank slate that is very expensive to make it look like soft and like a wedding, right? So 200 is great. Excuse me. So another fun fact about us is, I'm Nigerian, so Faye is short for Faye Shola. And with that, we've done so many cross-cultural weddings. Like I'm telling you, we've done like a Nigerian and Indian wedding. We've done like Pakistani and Ethiopian. We've done like Trini and Salvadorian. We've done like some crazy like Jewish and Jamaican. We've done like some crazy blended culture weddings. And those blended culture weddings almost always come with pretty large guest counts. We've done many weddings with like 300 people, 400, 500 people, right? And so 200 is a great spot to be at. I would say, I know you don't have a set budget, but I would say that you probably want to make sure that you allocate at least 40,000 for it. If you have more, that's even better. The more you spend, we offer flat rate pricing, so we're not taking the money, but it gives you more flexibility with things like the venue, especially with going a little bit more all out with decor and just having more options, right? So that's what we would recommend, just to give you a ballpark to start with. But yeah, that sounds great. Like, we would love to plan your wedding, and 200 is a great number, because weddings that are really small tend to not have a lot of young people. It tends to be a lot of like family, like aunts, uncles, like all of that. But once you get into slightly larger numbers, a lot of times you have more space for friends and coworkers and, you know, everybody to really like turn up. And that's the turn up crew. Those are the people who are gonna party and like cheer and scream and like take videos and do all that stuff. So 200 is a beautiful number. And we're excited to chat with you too a little bit more about your wedding. All right, everybody, Veronica, Angel, Brandy, Mishi, thanks so much, everybody, for joining. This has been a really fun live. It is almost 9 p.m. on the East Coast. I'm not sure where everybody else is tuning in from, but we're going to go ahead and wrap up this live. But one last time, I want to share with you, if you haven't already done so, make sure you complete this form, right? The form that's being pinned. We offer wedding planning by a team of experts with over 15 years of experience at a price you cannot find anywhere else. So you can go ahead, grab this form. We'll send you your next steps, including free resources to help you plan your wedding, as well as you know, we'll give you free resources to plan your wedding. We will also send you a proposal if you request one. And you also can just get started with our venue search service. It's a ridiculous price, just $49. But we will find your dream venue, giving you multiple options to choose from, and you'll get that in 5 business days or less. All right, so I would recommend that you go ahead and hop on one of these options. No matter what stage you are in your planning journey, there's something for you there. So make sure you fill out the form. For those of you who already filled out the form, we'll be in touch immediately after this live, and we can't wait to start getting to work on your wedding. All right, so anyone else have any final questions? I got about 5 more minutes, so any more questions, any more insights, do me a favor and drop it. All right, so if you don't have a question or you don't know what to say, just give me when are you planning to get married? So that could be spring 2028, it could be March 2028, it could be March 4th, 2020. It depends on how much info you have, right? If you haven't booked a venue, you may not be sure, but let me know that. Let me know how many guests you think you're gonna invite. So that could be 100, 200, whatever. And if you can't, let me know your budget, if you have one. If you don't have a budget, you can say that, right? And if you don't want to share that, share anything else. But that'll help me to just have something to respond to you about, because again, I want to make this interactive, okay? So hello, Brandy, Angel, XO Day, hello. Oh, you joined through Peekaboo's link. Hey, so Peekaboo's friends are in the house. That's great. Excited to have y'all in here. I'm excited to answer as many questions as I can. So let me know any questions y'all have. I'm here to serve. This is free wedding planning advice. I would definitely take advantage of it, because don't forget, most wedding planners are $8,000 or more. So make use of this free time. Come up with a question, even if you don't have one. Or if you don't have one, again, just share a little bit of your stats. Or you can just let me know what is the most frustrating thing at this point in the planning journey. While I wait for your questions, I'm going to recap one last time why your $50K wedding budget is not working for you. All right. So it's one of 3 things. Number 1, you overspent on your venue. You spent 80% of your budget, 90% of your budget on a venue because they told you it was all inclusive, which doesn't exist. There's no venue that is going to include everything. No venue is going to include photography and video. Many won't include cake. They're not going to give you a makeup artist. A lot of them are going to not let you into the bridal suite early enough to actually have your makeup done for you and all your bridesmaids. There's so much else to pay for, right? So overspending on your venue. Number two is paying for a whole bunch of other vendors before having a professionally drafted plan for your wedding. And a plan looks like a task list. So planning like this is what needs to be done when, but also more importantly, a breakdown of how much is spent on every vendor. And the reason this is important is because you might say, oh, why can't I just use a spreadsheet and just put percentages? Or why can't I just download a template and just put percentages? That's not keeping in mind what things actually cost today. Right? Just because a spreadsheet tells you that you can get a videographer for $500 doesn't mean you're going to find one for $500. So we are putting our human eyes and experience to show you like, okay, this is what you want. This is what it's going to look like. This is where we have to allocate to make sure you're getting the best, right? And this is what to expect. Now, so that's number two. You want to make sure you have a plan so you're not overspending early on as you book your vendors and then find yourself in a bind later when you realize there's nothing left for the rest. You don't want to overspend on decor and a DJ and then realize at the last minute there's no money for a caterer. Because by the way, catering costs more than whatever you think it costs. That's just a free tip, right? So that's pretty much what we help you to do early on so you don't fall into that pitfall. And number three reason that a lot of people, your 50K budget's not working for you, you feel squeezed, is that a lot of people are booking the wrong packages up front and then paying premium to bring it up to plan later. An example that I gave a couple times is, hey, if you're booking a photographer for 4 hours because the photographer told you that was going to be enough, and then later on paying the additional hour fee to bring it up to however many hours you need, 7 hours, 10 hours, whatever, depending on your plan. But at that point, that additional hour fee is way more than if you had negotiated the full rate up front, or maybe just gone with a different vendor. Just gone with a different vendor for the full number of hours that you need. So again, when we create that upfront plan, it includes this is what you need from every vendor so that we're making sure that we're comparing apples to apples and you're getting what you need upfront. And there's really no last minute costs, right? That run you over budget. Some people are like on budget and then 60 days before the wedding, they're like way off, right? It's one thing to change your mind and decide to add things because you have extra money. And it's another thing to get surprised and have to spend money that you weren't planning on at the last minute. And that's what we want to avoid. All right. Okay. So it looks like we don't have any other questions. Hello, MUA, Diva, Olivia, Wedded, and Daniel, John. Hello, y'all. All right, so thanks so much, y'all, for joining. Exciting to have y'all here. This has been really, really good. I'm gonna try my best to pull some clips from this and share them on TikTok over the week. But if you haven't already done so, your best next step is going to be to complete this form. All right, we're gonna send you a link with next steps, including a really quick training. It's like 10 minutes where we'll show you how to plan a 50K wedding that looks and feels like a $100,000 wedding. So if you've been saving all this stuff on Pinterest and Instagram that's like super luxurious, but you know you can't afford it, make sure you grab that, like fill out this form. We'll send you the link to the freebie, right? And then we'll go from there. So you can take advantage of that. You also will have the opportunity to request a wedding planning proposal if you're like, oh, I love them, I want to learn more about what it is to work with you. Or you also have the option to just go with our venue search service. All right, if you don't have a venue yet, or if you're considering venues, to use the venue search service, we'll go in, we'll look at options, we'll consult you through the venue search service, and then after that, we could talk about planning the rest of your wedding, right? As long as you're ready at that point. So thanks so much, guys, for joining. This has been our first ever Wedding Wednesday. There will be more. So next Wednesday, we will be back here. And hopefully by then, some of y'all will already be clients, right? Literally, for those of you guys who, if you book our venue search service tonight, or if you book our full planning service tonight, by next Wednesday, you could literally have a venue list or a vendor list. If you haven't booked a venue yet, you could have your venue list by the time we do this next live. And if you booked a venue, you can have a full list of vendors in every category, your budget breakdown, your task list, your timeline, all of that by the next time we do this live. That's how fast we move to make sure that you have everything that you need. And again, you're working with the elite team for less. You won't be able to find this anywhere else. So I would go ahead and lock that in and we'll go from there. All right, so thanks y'all for tuning in. It's been so great having you here. We'll be back again next Wednesday. And for those of you guys who filled out the form, we will be in touch with all the goodies very, very, very soon, okay? So make sure you fill out that form. I'm gonna give it another 20 or so seconds for any last minute form fill outs. And we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this live. Thanks so much, y'all, for rocking with us. Like I said, Wedded Details is the best thing I've ever created. Creating affordable wedding planning that's accessible for everyone, serving everyone, right? We're a Black-owned business, obviously, and so we appreciate your support, but also we're gonna work as hard as we can to get you the best wedding possible, right? We don't just see it as support; we see it as our opportunity to serve you, and we're excited to serve you through your wedding. So whether your wedding in 2027, it may even be later in 2026. Hey, like I said, we've planned weddings start to finish in literally as short as 60 days. So if you're like, listen, I'm trying to do a quickie wedding, we can support you with that. Just fill out the form and you will get all the next steps. All right. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for being part of this, and we will see you again next week.